Hello, I am Senator Sonya Halpern, and welcome to my inaugural edition of Sundays with Sonya. Each month, I will be hosting a conversation with guests where we come together to discuss issues and topics that are trending and to share resources and areas of relevance to my constituents in District 39 and across the state of Georgia. Today, we will be discussing post-secondary options. What's next? I wanted to discuss this topic now because, quite honestly, it's very timely. For one, it's May, and that means it's graduation season. So, first of all, a huge congratulations to all those who will be celebrating this milestone occasion. I believe I have 5 high school graduation parties to attend myself before the month is over. But what is post secondary education? It is the education level after the successful completion of secondary school, also known as high school. This actually includes colleges and universities as well as trade and vocational school. But what we know is that there is an emphasis on the 4-year university track in high school, despite the fact that nationwide, just 3 out of 10 high school grads from low income schools and just under 5 out of 10 grads from high income schools who go on to 4-year public universities have earned college degrees within 6 years, according to the National Student Clearinghouse. The escalating cost of college, coupled with the fact that people aren't graduating, means that student loan debt is the highest in history at over $1 trillion, with 69% of seniors graduating with a 4-year degree having student loan debt, and the average debt at graduation from public and nonprofit schools at $30,000 in 2014. 4-year colleges and universities seem further and further out of reach for more young adults. The problem is compounded even further by the fact that fewer first-year students are even prepared for college-level work. Last month, President Biden proposed the American Jobs Plan. If this passes, he intends to invest $2.3 trillion in a massive overhaul of the nation's roads, bridges, water and sewer systems, and public transit. This would be an historic public investment that will deliver jobs and opportunities over the next decade in both urban, suburban, and rural areas throughout every state in the country. These projects would put pipe fitters, electricians, carpenters, sheet metal and steel factory workers, construction workers, truck drivers, and other workers to work, and most of those jobs do not require a college degree. In fact, nearly 90% of the infrastructure jobs created in the American Jobs Plan, if passed, wouldn't require a college degree, and 75% don't require an associate's degree either, according to a Georgetown University report. This infrastructure plan is anticipated to lead to nearly 19 million jobs by 2030. However, according to the Associated General Contractors of Georgia, there is a critical workforce shortage in the construction industry that was predicted some time ago and is absolutely happening now. Today, nearly 80% of construction companies nationwide are having trouble finding qualified workers. And in fact, worker shortages and worker quality were the 2 top concerns of contractors in 2020. There are expected to be more job openings in these infrastructure related fields than there are people training to fill them. Why? Because for every 5 tradesmen retiring, there's only 1 to replace them. When you look at career pay and wages in technical, construction, and trade businesses, and the fact that apprenticeships can sometimes even offer a chance for people to be paid while they learn, these other career paths deserve some real consideration. And that's why I am thrilled to be joined by Dr. Victoria Seals, President of Atlanta Technical College, and Mr. Scott Shehar, President and CEO of CEFGA, which is the Construction Education Foundation of Georgia. Welcome to both of my guests. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Senator.
so glad to be talking to you. There's a lot, I think, to digest here in terms of what we see happening and trending around the nation, and particularly with the work that both of you guys focus on every day. I'll start with you, Dr. Seals, and let me just first say, for those who don't know, Atlanta Technical College is part of the technical college system of Georgia, offering technical certificates, diplomas, and associate degrees. You are located right here in Atlanta on Metropolitan Parkway and attracts students from a number of different counties, but especially Fulton and Clayton counties. Dr. Seals, I should also say congratulations on being named the 2020 Southern Regional Chief Executive Officer by the Association of, oh my gosh, Community College Trustees just last year. Congratulations. Share with us, if you would, just a little bit about the work that you're doing every day and the focus that the Atlanta Technical College has in your offerings.
Awesome. Thank you, Senator. And again, thank you for being able to participate in this conversation. At Atlanta Technical College, like you said, we serve the city of Atlanta and the Fulton and Clayton counties, but we do have students who come from all over the metro region. And our emphasis is workforce development. So we really specialize in what we call stackable credentials that lead to pathways. It's important for us that students come in, they get a quick certificate that they can go right to work after about one semester at our college. And then they can continue to get their education training while they are working and being placed in that first job. The thing that I think is important for all of your constituents to realize that there's so many resources that will support students as they come through technical college, even from being in enrollment while they're in high school, earn college credit that's totally free for them and their families, as well as the Hope Career Grant, really support all of these careers, as you're mentioning, all of the skilled trades, all of the IT and healthcare. Those are the primary career fields that we train for that can get people right into the workforce and really help solve this issue of economic equity for all of our areas here in the metro region.
Well, I saw a statistic too that even back in 2018, construction, along with healthcare and personal care, it was expected to account for like a third of all new jobs through 2023. And there are something like 30 million jobs in the United States that pay an average of 55,000 a year that don't require that bachelor's degree. So there is a sweet spot there that I know that you guys really are sitting in and really working to train, as you said, that workforce development. And Mr. Shelar, you all at CEFGA also really are focused also on that workforce development, are you not? I know I've learned of you all through your Construction Ready program, which I know trains people to be ready to go into the construction business. But it seems that the work that you're doing really is around workforce development as well. Would you say that's right?
Absolutely, Senator Halpern. Thank you so much for having me this morning, and thank you for lifting up this issue as well. But yes, the Construction Education Foundation of Georgia is all about promoting careers in the skilled trades in construction. And I appreciate you too outlining exactly what construction means. A lot of people, when they hear the word construction, they think hammers and nails and digging ditches and that sort of thing. And the reality is that construction is a vast industry with a lot of different skilled trades like electrical and plumbing and heating and air conditioning. It's a lot of the training that Dr. Seals and her team offer at Atlanta Technical College. But our niche as an organization is we focus on the entry-level worker. We focus on getting someone who has no construction experience, helping them break into the industry and get a foot in the door, so to speak. And as you mentioned, Construction Ready is a program that we're very well known for. It's a fast-paced program. It's 4 weeks in length. It's totally free to our participants. It's funded by various government grants and private grants that we've been able to tap into. But yes, it's a 4-week training program that will prepare people very quickly to get an entry-level job in our industry. And what we're seeing is starting pay is around 13 to 15 an hour, and that's a start. But the idea is we place our graduates with companies who will continue to invest in our students and help them grow in our industry. And so we're already seeing students earning $75,000 to $80,000 a year who graduated from our construction ready program. So the idea is to help people get started in our industry. And as you said, Senator Halpern, we're seeing tremendous demand for every one of our graduates here in Atlanta. We're seeing 3 or 4 job offers for every one of our graduates right here today. So the demand is unbelievable. But that's good news for citizens who are looking for a good opportunity in the construction industry.
Well, I'm gonna because you were very humble about the actual impact of your program. So I think I'm gonna just take a moment to brag a little bit further on the work that you're doing. I actually had the great occasion to be there for your last graduation in that cohort, and so it's exciting to see people who really kind of step back or either maybe lost a job or really started to think about, what might I be doing differently with my career, and found out about that program and jumped in. So can you share just a little bit, what's the average age of folks who participate in the Construction Ready program?
Yes, so we say that we like to help people of all ages and backgrounds get into the construction industry. And so our average age, to answer your question, is about 32. So we see career changers, people who are doing something that is not fulfilling and they just want a better opportunity. We have a lot of our graduates are transitioning out of prison. And so we see younger people coming straight out of high school who want to get into the industry. So this is a fast track to get your foot in the door. And we have trained a little over 1,100 Metro Atlanta residents over the last 7 years to get into our industry. And we have a 97% placement rate. We're very clear with people. We cannot guarantee a job. We make that very clear. But we say, hey, if you stick with us and you make it through the program, there's a 97% chance that you're going to have a great job in the construction industry.
And keep the job too, because I know that your graduates are still employed after the first year of graduating from your program. So they're immediately placed, and a year later they're still working. 70% of the people are stay with the training that they learned and in the industry that they've landed in.
You definitely did your homework, Senator Albert.
Listen, I think because you got to brag about these things. Oh, and here's another one that I do think is impressive, because the other piece of it is, and you said it, oftentimes people they don't think of these jobs, and they think of them in a very kind of tight box. But the reality is the kind of economic impact of these jobs is huge. Your wages earned by graduates since 2014, $65 million. So those
That's right.
1,100 or so graduates in 6 years, let's call it 6.5 years almost, have earned $65 million. So the ramp up can be very quick, and everybody must start somewhere. And that $12 to $15 an hour is a great entry point. I would like to just reinforce something you just said too, and ask you to tell us more about it. And that's the part where you said it's a free intensive program that's 4 weeks long.
Yeah, it's completely funded by different grants. We've been able to tap into some WIOA money, which is the Workforce Innovation Opportunities Act money. We've been able to tap into some federal actually COVID-related dollars. They're helping us as well. Large foundations like the Blank Foundation and the Marcus Foundation and the Home Depot Foundation, they invest in this program. AT&T. We have a lot of corporate sponsors who really believe in this program, and so we're careful when we say free. Nothing is free, right? It does cost something, but the good thing is for the resident, for the person participating in the program, there is no cost whatsoever because it's underwritten by federal and private dollars. And so, yes, totally free to the participant. We do ask the participant to give us their time. That is the one investment. It's about 40 hours a week for 4 weeks. So that is something that we do request, but that is it.
That's fantastic. Well, Dr. Seals, Let's talk a little bit more about some of the specific programs that are happening at the Atlanta Technical College. This past legislative session, one of the things that I was glad to kind of really be able to focus on and advocate aggressively for ATC was around your developing Center for Logistics and Transportation. And I'm really thrilled that we were successfully able to get $3.2 million into the upcoming fiscal year 22 state budget to support the work that you're doing there. Can you just tell everybody else just a little bit more about that program and why it's so important?
Yes, we were definitely excited to be able to secure that funding, and I'm appreciative of you and all of the representatives who are advocating for that. The Center for Transportation and Logistics is going to specifically focus on those particular careers around truck driving, supply chain logistics, and to be able to train individuals for those careers. The thing that we've seen throughout data, and particularly last year, pandemic, there's a redefinition of work. So transportation area is a very high demand career, in career, and our Center for Transportation and Logistics allow us to train more than 1,000 individuals per year in those particular fields. In the time that I've been here at the college, we have not had dedicated space, so we've been very constrained in how many truck drivers we can train, how many logistics and supply chain technicians that we can train. And so this Center for Transportation and Logistics will be an important investment for our metro region as we'll be able to get more and more individuals trained and in these fields, these high demand career fields. The thing about all of these careers is that it takes our students from households that make less than 25,000 a year, and that after one semester, in some cases, or even two semesters, they will be able to be making anywhere from 55 to $60,000 per year, and that's just after that very short-term training. And similar to what we were saying with CEFGA, with the Hope Career Grants and all of these additional state support, a lot of these programs for those students who qualify are tuition free. It means that they're, as you mentioned earlier in your intro, they're coming out of these programs with no student loan debt. And that's, again, an important factor when we're trying to help our citizens move into economic mobility. It is about being able to have them come out to earn some livable wages and not have to worry about student loan debt as they're getting into their careers.
Yeah, the transportation and logistics, the logistics and transportation center is also, I think, if we think about just the state of Georgia, I mean, we've got a busy port, right? So we've got that big Savannah port. Transportation is a key factor and key kind of product line, if I can put it that way, for the state as well. So it's a high priority area on the state side, and I think it's just fantastic that you all are seeing also that need. There is a growing workforce demand there, and I'm excited that you all are able to help to fill that, and. And I think too, one of the things that really impresses me about the work you're doing is that you are oftentimes thinking and framing the work that you're doing and the kind of students that you have and thinking about that kind of two generation approach to the family. Will you just talk a little bit about that too?
Yes, definitely. And education and training, particularly for our lower earning communities, is the key. It's how they're able to elevate themselves, their families. And our approach really is, like you said, two generational. So a lot of times we'll have parents who are bringing their kids here to get started and end up in a program themselves. There was one year last year when we graduated, and we had three generations in one family who were part of graduation and being able to obtain their certificates and their associate degrees. So it's very important that when we are trying to elevate people, that we're training the whole person and the entire family. And so it's really important for me that we engage our industry partners in that work. In addition to the Center for Transportation and Logistics, one of the other key initiatives that we've been involved in here in the last 3 years is an amazing partnership with the City of Atlanta and the Atlanta Committee for Progress. So similar to what Mr. Shelar shared about CEFGA, it's important that we have the employer commitment on the front end. And so through our Center for Workforce Innovation, we are intentionally engaging those employer partners and really starting with the end in mind. So we look at what are those job openings. Like you said, Georgia for the past 5 years have had negative unemployment because the jobs are there, but in the individuals who are unemployed or underemployed just don't have the skill set to fill those jobs. And so through our Center for Workforce Innovation, we've intentionally focused on what those job openings are and how we can train those individuals to fill that skills gap and to be able to get them into the workforce. And so this helps our individuals and our students and their families really experience economic mobility, but it's really helping too to make sure that our employers and our companies have the workforce that they need to stay here in Georgia. You know, Georgia's been the number one state in which to do business. The only way that it stays that way is if we're able to really solve this workforce pipeline issue. And to your point about graduation season, we just had our commencement ceremony on Saturday. We graduated over 1,700 students. And like you said, over a third are in the skilled trades in these high demand careers. So we're looking forward to continuing to replenish the workforce.
Well, congratulations on that. 1,700 grads, and off they go, onward and upward with great training and the ability to land jobs immediately. I wanna, I wanna, um, I want to talk a little bit also. I said in the beginning that oftentimes high schools really track students for universities, colleges and universities. And more you do hear people talking about the need to bring trades back into our schools because college is not going to be for everybody and may not even be affordable to everybody. Mr. Shelar, I would love to talk a little bit about your K through 12 project and that pipeline and the work you guys are doing there.
Yes, so we mentioned the Construction Ready program earlier. That's our adult program. Our K-12 pipeline is our youth program, and we do work with high schools throughout Georgia and especially here in Metro Atlanta. We have about 150 high school construction programs throughout the state of Georgia, and roughly half of those are in Metro Atlanta. And we are working very closely with your district, Senator Halpern, in Fulton County and Atlanta Public Schools. I will say right now, we do not have a lot of high school construction programs in APS. We are working to change that and work with APS to introduce more programs. And we're making great progress. COVID has slowed us down a little bit because, you know, it's hard to open new programs in this environment. They're focused on the basics of blocking and tackling, but there's definitely interest there at certain high schools. Like Booker T. Washington has expressed interest in starting a program. And so that's something we're super excited about. But basically what happens is students are getting the same level of training that they get in our Construction Ready program. They're getting within their high schools. So they can actually enroll in a high school construction program while they're in school. And the beauty of that is as soon as they graduate at 18, they already have the credentials and the training that our employers are looking for. And so they can go straight to work. Or they can go on and enroll in a program at Atlanta Technical College, but it really gets them started earlier in life. You know, I mentioned earlier our Construction Ready average age is 32. Honestly, that's a little too old for an average age, right? Not that 32 is old, but we would really, as an industry, we'd like to get them a little bit sooner, right? We'd like to get them at 18 or 19 if we can, because, you know, in 10 years, they could be running, they could be a foreman or a superintendent. So, and we see that all the time. We see people in their late 20s, you know, running construction crews, and it's because they got started really early in life. But here's the other beautiful thing, Senator Halpern. Beyond high school, we're actually beginning to work in middle school and elementary school, because what we figured out is by the time students get to high school, a lot of them have already formed those negative opinions about the construction industry. And so what we've learned over the years is that we have to push back, farther into schools and into the middle school. And we're actually doing a program called Little Builders, where we work with second and third graders to build small projects. They build little toolboxes or tool benches. And, and the other cool thing is we're doing it all through Zoom. We're doing it all virtually. We're sending out these kits to students all over the state, and they're actually building these projects with our help. And so what that does, though, what we find with those programs is a lot of students say, hey, I've never swung a hammer before, or I've never driven a nail into a board. And they say, this is very satisfying. I like this. And so the idea is to plant that seed at a really young age so that at some point in their life, they say, hey, I really like working with my hands. And then they hear this is something you can do for a living. And then we take it from there. But it's exciting work, and we really like working in that K-12 space.
That's great. And I think oftentimes too, to the point you just made, like there's this misconception. I have a son who it's like, I can't get him off of video games. He's a middle schooler. And so much of construction also, I think, has shifted and changed these days. Yes, you've got all the hands-on, but there's a whole kind of technology piece that's also undergirding a lot of these industries and with 3D printing. And I mean, when you talk about building and how it all comes together at the end, I think that there's a lot of different ways that people's interests can be engaged, and that kind of hand and mind connection is there in ways that people don't generally think about it.
That's exactly what we like to promote is, it's not work with your hands or your mind, right? It's work with both, right? If you can find something that allows you to create with your hands, but also use your mind, that's a beautiful thing if it's something that you enjoy. And you're right. There are so many different ways to work in construction. Obviously we're focused on the hands-on working out in the field, actually building, but in the office, we do have all sorts of technology needs. If you like technology, there are lots of opportunities in construction. There's something called building information modeling in our industry where, in the old days, they used to use blueprints and draw things in a 2D format. Now it's all done via computer. There are very few blueprints around anymore. It's all 3D modeling on your computer. And that's a big part of our industry. So if that's something you enjoy doing, there are certainly those sorts of opportunities as well in the construction industry.
Well, I want to thank both of you. Kind of to round out our conversation. Oh, one thing we have not talked about that I can't let us go without discussing. So many of these jobs are considered to be male-oriented jobs. We have not talked about the fact that there are opportunities for women, and that both of you embrace, bringing more and more women into these fields and getting them trained as well. Can you both just share a little bit of what you're seeing around women starting to think about these kind of opportunities?
But definitely, at Atlanta Technical College, we are very intentional about trying to encourage and support women. We actually have a chapter of women in construction here on the campus, and I'm a mathematician by trade, so I'm always a fan of supporting young girls and women to explore those careers that haven't traditionally been considered for women. And we also do a lot of the wraparound support services to make sure that the women in these fields can really get involved and that they can excel, whether it's assistance with transportation, childcare, a lot of those family type barriers that sometimes get in the way, as well as for them to see examples of women in their career fields. And so as they see that, they can see themselves in those fields and being able to excel. A lot of our graduates are women in our skilled trades, and they go on to start their own companies, and then they reach back to hire other women graduates. And so it is very intentional. We have to be in terms of making this an inclusive career field. And I think encouraging and supporting women to do that is something that we're both really committed to.
And Mr. Sheeler, what are you seeing from your side on this?
Yeah, so I would say that, it goes back to a perception issue. The perception is that construction is a male-dominated field. And part of that's reality. Only about 6% of our skilled trade workers are female in our industry. So, but the beautiful thing from our standpoint is we are seeing more and more women coming into our Construction Ready program. That number is up around 25% right now in terms of females enrolled in our program. And Dr. Seals lifted up something really important. People like ourselves who are running these programs have to be intentional about reaching out to females. And so one of the things we've done is we've started partnering with SNAP supplemental nutritional assistance program over the past few years. And as a result, we're seeing a greater enrollment from females in our program by just partnering with that program in particular. The other really cool thing that we've seen is that our retention rates are actually better with females than with males. The females seem to stick in our jobs even better than our male students for whatever reason. And so that's something that's really encouraging as well, is once we can get them in the door and get them trained and placed, we're finding that they really enjoy the industry, and they really tend to stick around for a while. So, and our employers love hiring females, so that's never a challenge. So I think the biggest challenge is overcoming that perception that construction is male dominated. This is totally something that women can do and do really well, sometimes better than men. So let's get more females in our industry.
Well, what, just kind of in summary, what Dr. Seals, just tell us anything interesting you're seeing, any last thoughts that you might want to make sure that all of our viewers know about and can remember about the work that you're doing?
Well, here at Atlanta Technical College, like I said, our focus is workforce development and economic mobility. We have a 99% job placement rate. So when you come to us, we really are going to help you get started in that career. It's going to be low cost, but just high commitment on your part. And we're here to really help families elevate and really participate in what we have always coined as the American dream. And so education and training is definitely a resource here to back. So we're excited again to partner with you, Senator, and on these efforts are amazing resources to help all of our citizens really get into the high demand careers that they deserve an opportunity to thrive in.
Thank you. And what about you, Mr. Shilar?
Yeah, I would just close it out by saying, hey, if you think construction's a great fit for you, come check out our Construction Ready program. Or if you're a high school student or a high school parent, a parent of a high school student, find out if there's a construction program in your local high school, because that's also a great way to get started. But then I would also just like to plug our website, if I may, really quickly,
Yes.
CEFGA.org. CEFGA.org is a great place to start. And also constructionready.org is our other site that you can come through. So either of those, if this sounds like it's a good fit and something you might be interested in, check it out, and we'd love to work with you. And thank you again, Senator Halpern, for having this conversation and lifting this issue up. We really appreciate it.
I thank both of you, Dr. Victoria Seals, Atlanta Technical College, Mr. Scott Sheelar from CEFGA. I appreciate both of you taking time to talk to me and to share about the work that you're doing. There is no question in my mind that this industry, these kinds of jobs are going to be major opportunities for people in now and into the future. Certainly, we will have the major investments that we need, and we are going to need people who are able to do those jobs, who are well trained. And I'm glad to be able to lift up your programs today as two places where people can turn and go to if they want this kind of training, if they're considering this kind of work, that they can come and ask questions and find out if it's for them. And if they decide it's for them, can get enrolled and involved in your programs and pretty quickly, find themselves working and earning strong livings with opportunities for mobility. So thank you again. Thank you very much to everybody who watched today. And I will see you next time on Sundays with Sonya. Thank you.